Something has happened to you that you have never forgotten, and I am going to describe it because I believe you have had at least one of these moments, and maybe all three. The deer that did not run. You came around the path or stepped into the yard, and it was there, and every deer you have ever known runs, but this one did not. It lifted its head and looked at you, held your eyes, held its ground, for 5 seconds, 10, a small eternity, before it turned and walked, not fled, walked away. The wild bird that came close, closer than birds come, landed on the rail an arm's length from you, or followed you down the fence line, or sat in the near branch and sang directly at you while you stood frozen, not wanting to end it. The butterfly that landed on you, on your hand, your shoulder, once your hair, and stayed opening and closing its wings, unhurried, while something in your chest went very still and very warm at the same time. And in every one of those moments you felt something you could not explain and did not try to explain to anyone, a feeling of being, and here is the strange word, the true word, recognized. And when you told someone, if you told anyone, they said, that's neat. And the moment died in the air between you, and you learned to keep these moments to yourself, in a private drawer, with the other things the world has no shelf for. Tonight I am opening the drawer, because my people have a complete teaching about these moments, and in the old understanding, they are exactly what they felt like. The wild ones do not approach at random, hear me, they cannot afford to. Their lives depend on reading correctly, and when a wild creature chooses to come near a human being, it has read something, and tonight I am going to tell you what it read. 3 animals, the 3 the old ones watched above all, and what each one senses in a person before it approaches, and what it means about you, my friend, that they have been approaching you your whole life. But first you must understand how animals read, because this is the foundation, and the modern world has it completely wrong. The modern world believes animals are simple, frightened machines, fleeing everything, approaching only food. Anyone who has actually lived close to the wild ones knows better, and my people lived closer than any. Hear the old understanding. Animals never buried the deep sense. I taught you about the deep sense, the one every human is born with and almost every human buries, the sense that reads beneath the surface. The animals kept it, all of it, undamaged, because no one ever told a deer it was imagining things. And with that unburied sense, the wild ones read every human being who comes near them, instantly, completely. And what they read is not your face or your clothes or even your movements, those they see. But what they read is underneath. They read your interior weather, the agitation or the stillness, the noise of your spirit, or the quiet of it. Whether the fire in you is the churning kind, the wanting, grasping, hunting kind, or the settled kind, the warm, still, needing nothing kind. My grandmother said it plainly, the way she said everything. She said, "Grandson, every creature you meet reads your spirit before it reads anything else, and the wild ones read it best, because their lives depend on the reading. A dog can be fooled a little. Dogs have lived with our lies too long. The wild ones are never fooled. And here is the teaching that tonight rests on, so receive it carefully. In the old understanding, a strong spirit was never a loud one. The modern world thinks strength is force, presence, dominance, and every animal on this earth flees exactly that. The old ones knew a strong spirit is a still one. Deep water, not crashing water. A fire so steady it does not need to roar. Warmth without wanting. Presence without hunger. That combination, stillness and warmth together, is the rarest reading in the human world. Most people are either warm and noisy or still and cold. And when a wild creature's unburied sense finds the rare one, the still warm one, the strong spirit, it does what wild things have done around such people since the beginning. It comes closer. And my grandmother, hear this, Use the animals' readings the way you would use a trusted counselor. When a new person came into the family's circle, a suitor, a trading partner, a new neighbor, she would watch, before anything else, what the animals did around them. Not the dogs only, though she watched the dogs, but the yard birds, the horses, the half-wild cat that lived in the shed and trusted no one. And I asked her once, as I asked her everything, "Why do you watch the animals when you can watch the person?" And she gave me the answer that holds tonight's whole teaching. She said, "Grandson, the person shows me what they have decided to show me. Every human arrives performing, but the animals read what is underneath the performance, and they cannot be lied to, because the spirit cannot be performed. It can only be worn, and the animals read the wearing. If the birds scatter every time a man steps out and keep scattering after a month, I have learned something no interview would teach me. And if the shed cat, who trusts nothing on two legs, comes and sits by a visitor's boot, then whatever that visitor's words are doing, I know what their spirit is doing, and I will trust the cat's report over the man's every time." And she was never wrong, my friend, not once that I witnessed, because her counselors were never wrong. The animals around you are issuing these same reports every day about everyone who enters your yard and your life, and the old ones simply remembered to read the reports. From tonight, so can you. Before I share the next teaching, I need to tell you something. I am not going to be here forever, and most of what I know was never written anywhere. So I sat down and I wrote it, all of it. 20 teachings, 4 parts, in the order they were meant to be received. The ones about the unburied sense and the ones the animals choose. The ones about the still warm fire and how to keep it. The ones I have never said on camera. It is called The Native Way, and it costs less than one dinner you will not remember. Scan the code on your screen or look in the comments. But do not leave yet, because now come the 3 animals, and the first one has been reading you through your window for years. The first animal is the bird, and the birds have been watching you longer than you know. Hear what a bird is in the old understanding. The birds live at the border, the edge between earth and sky, and my people, like every old people on this earth, held them as the great messengers, the carriers between worlds. And tonight I will give you the practical half of that teaching. A wild bird's whole life is reading danger. It reads the cat in the grass, the hawk in the cloud, the intention in every moving thing. Its sense is tuned finer than almost any creature alive, and a wild bird does not come close to a churning spirit, ever. It cannot afford the risk. So watch what the birds do around you, the ones at your feeder that do not scatter when you come out, that hold the branch while you fill the seed, that have learned your outline and your weather. The one that follows you down the fence line some mornings, keeping pace. The one that lands close an arm's length, too, and sings at you, hear me at you. You have felt the difference between a bird singing in your direction and a bird singing to the air. In the old way, the elders, whose spirits had gone fully still and warm, were known for exactly this. The birds came to them, sat near them. One old man of my childhood took his morning tea outside every day, and the chickadees would come to the arm of his chair, and the children thought it was a trick, and my grandmother told me, "It is not a trick. It is a verdict." The birds have read him for years, the way they read everything, and the reading came back quiet. That man has nothing in him that hunts, and every bird in this valley knows it. My friend, if the birds hold their branches around you, if they come to your rail, your feeder, your fence line, if even once in your life a wild bird has chosen to close the distance between you, then you have received the border dweller's verdict, the oldest character reference in the world, issued by judges that cannot be bribed, flattered, or fooled. Keep it in the drawer no longer. The birds put it on the record years ago. The second animal is the deer, and the deer's approach means something different and deeper. Understand what a deer is. The deer is prey, purely. Its whole existence is one long reading of threat, It is made of alertness, every muscle of it built for flight. And a deer's sense for the hunting spirit, hear this, is the finest instrument in the forest. The deer does not read whether you have a weapon. It reads whether you are, in your spirit, in the deep place, hunting. And most modern people, hear me say this plainly, are hunting all the time, without knowing it. Hunting outcomes, hunting the next thing, wanting, grasping, aimed, even standing still in their own backyard. The modern person is usually aimed at something, and the deer reads the aim, and the deer is gone before the person even saw it. So understand what happened in your moment, the one I described at the start, the deer that did not run.
That deer read you completely in the first instant. They always do. And what it found in you in that moment was a human being who was not hunting anything. No aim, no grasp, no want pointed at it or at the world. Stillness, and underneath the stillness, warmth. And the deer, whose judgment its very life depends on, rendered the rarest verdict it can render. It stayed. It gave you those 5 seconds, 10, of held eyes, and hear what the old ones called those seconds, because it is one of the most beautiful phrases in the old teachings. They called it standing in the peace. When the deer holds its ground before a human, the two of them, for those seconds, are standing inside the same peace, the peace the world had before the hunting began, and the deer only extends the invitation, hear this, to the ones whose spirits can enter it. Most people live and die without a single such moment. You have had them, my friend, some of you many of them, and now you know what they were. Not luck, not the deer being tame or foolish. The wild, holy, unbribable judgment of the most cautious creature in the forest, finding you, of all the humans it has fled from all its life, safe to stand with, inside the old peace, for a little while. And I will give you my own such moment, because an old man is allowed one story about himself in 100 teachings. It came in the hardest season of my life, the season after my grandmother passed, when the grief was still a stone in me, and I had taken to walking the early mornings because the house was unbearable at that hour. And one morning, on the path she and I had walked together 1,000 times, a doe stepped out ahead of me, close, closer than any deer of my life, and did not run. And I stopped, and she looked at me. And I want to tell you honestly what those seconds were, because I have turned them over for decades. I was, in that season, emptied. The grief had scoured everything out of me, all the noise, all the wanting, all the aim, a man walking with nothing left to hunt, still in the way that only the grieving are still, and warm in the way that only the loving and bereft are warm. And the doe read all of it, in an instant, the way they do. And she stayed. And we stood in the peace together, that doe and I, on my grandmother's path, in the first light for what I believe were the longest 10 seconds of my life. And when she finally walked on, unhurried, I sat down on a stone and wept for the first time since the burial. And it was the good weeping, the kind that moves the stone. I am not going to tell you what that doe was, my friend. The old ones would have had their soft-eyed answer, and you may have yours. I will only tell you that grief empties a person into exactly the stillness the wild ones read, which is why the animals so often come close to the grieving. Hear this, the deer to the widow's yard, the bird to the funeral window, the wild things gathering gently around the broken, and the old ones saw it in every generation and said, the animals know who is standing in the deep water. They come to keep them company in it. And the third animal, the smallest and the deepest, is the butterfly, and its cousins of the light wing, the dragonfly. Hear first the humble truth, because I teach honestly. A butterfly is a small creature of simple readings, warmth, stillness, the salt of skin. And I will not tell you it studies your character the way the deer does. But hear what the old ones knew, and what your own experience confirms. The light-winged ones land only on stillness. They cannot land on agitation. It is a physical fact before it is a spiritual one. A fidgeting hand, a restless body, a person in motion offers no landing place. And so the butterfly's choosing, whatever else it is always a certificate of one thing, that in that moment you were still, truly still, still enough that the wildest, lightest, most easily startled creature alive mistook you, or did not mistake you, for a place of rest. Now hear the deeper half, the half every griever watching already knows. Every old people on this earth, mine among them, connected the light-winged ones to the departed, the butterfly and the dragonfly as the visitors, the forms the beloved dead choose for a moment's return. And you may believe that or hold it gently. I have never argued anyone into the old understandings, but I will tell you what I have witnessed too many times to dismiss. The butterfly that came at the funeral and would not leave, the dragonfly that hovered at the graveside, at the window, at the anniversary, the one that landed on the widow's hand at the exact moment she was speaking his name. I was present for that one, my friend. I watched it stay while she wept, wings opening and closing, unhurried, and I watched her face change from grief to something else. And whatever the modern world wishes to call that moment, I know what everyone present called it, and I know what she called it to her last day. So when the light-winged one lands on you, receive both halves of the teaching. The humble half, that you were still enough to be a resting place, which is itself the mark of the strong spirit, the deep water. And the deep half, held gently, that the old ones would have watched that landing with soft eyes and asked, quietly, who do you think it is? So there are the three, the bird, the deer, and the light-winged ones. And now hear what it all means about you, because that is the true teaching of tonight. If these three have approached you across your life, if the birds hold their branches, if the deer have stood, if the butterflies have landed, then you have been receiving for decades the same verdict from the only judges in this world whose readings are never wrong. The animals have been telling you what I told you in another teaching, that you carry something, a stillness, a warmth, a fire that does not roar, and they have been telling you long before any human ever noticed, because the animals read what humans overlook. And hear this, the animals' verdict and the old one's verdict are the same verdict. My grandmother identified the carriers by watching exactly this. Watch where the children settle, she said. Watch who the animals follow. You have been identified, my friend, over and over your whole life, by every wild thing that closed the distance. So from tonight, do two things. First, receive the approaches properly, the old way. When the wild one comes near, go still, fully still, no reaching, hear me, never reaching. The reach is the hunt returning, just stillness and soft eyes, and the old ones would speak, quietly, a greeting, a thank you. Hello, little one. Thank you for coming close, because the moment is a visit and visits deserve greeting. And second, understand what the verdicts mean for the years ahead. The strong spirit the animals keep finding in you is the same one this whole fire has been teaching you to trust. The deep sense, the light, the old spirit. The animals have simply been confirming it, wordlessly, from the wild side all along. Believe them. They have no reason to lie, and no ability to. And the next time a deer holds its ground and gives you the long look, stand in the peace, my friend, all the way in, and know finally exactly what is happening. The oldest judge in the forest has read your spirit, and it is staying. If what you heard today stayed with you, the book is there. The Native Way, 20 teachings, 100 pages.
Written the way I would speak to you if we were sitting together. Scan the QR code on the screen with your phone or find the link in the comments. Read one chapter. Sit with it. Now I want to hear from you. Tell me in the comments. Which of the three has approached you? And tell me about the moment you have kept in the drawer all these years. I read every comment. And if this is the kind of conversation you have been looking for, subscribe to this channel. We are not collecting viewers here. We are collecting people who remember. Come back next week. I am not done teaching yet.